Hey everyone, Vanessa Hogel here. Um, I have been encouraging people to ask crazy questions, anything in regards to paranormal, witchcraft, psychic abilities, you name it, whatever it is. And I got a really good one the other day. I'm going to call this episode Amnesia in the Afterlife. And the reason for that is the question was, why does it appear as if some people who are deceased don't know they're dead? Why is that a thing? And I thought that was kind of brilliant. You know, it seems, at least in my experience, that people just take that as a standard, but don't address the cause of it. And that's kind of where I came up with the name for this, because I believe that it's definitely a possibility. Let's dissect it, if you will. Okay. Let's say that there was trauma before death. Let's say that there was coma before death. Let's say that there was anything that, if the person lived through it, there might be subsequent memory loss. There might be issues with retainability in regards to information. There could be an extensive amount of confusion based on a head injury, medically induced coma that could happen through some other situation, trauma due to the surprise and the sheer quickness in which death could come. Any one of those things could, if you were able to live through it, potentially cause amnesia. So why is it different if you're dead? Okay. We've said all along, if you're a poopy person in life, odds are you're probably going to be a poopy person in death. Well, why can't those situations be transferred onto death as well, in regards to how people see the world, or see those that are living after they've died? It's I really think that this is something that we need to look into, and by looking into it, we might change the way that we investigate. Okay, just like they say with somebody who has amnesia, things will come back to them on their own time, on their own comfort level, um, or with a quickness, but not something forced by others. They actually say that that's dangerous to do to somebody that has amnesia. If you try to force recognition through circumstance, or um, initiation of information, or what have you, that it can actually be damaging. And I think that can apply to this. I think that's one of the reasons why some people have difficulty in connecting with lost loved ones, because let's face it, even the show that caused me to come out of the broom closet, Ghost Whisper, even that showed that once you died, all your worries, as far as physical ailments or whatever, for the most part, would be gone. Okay. And it's been my experience in the 45 years I've been doing this, that is not the case. Now, I'm not knocking the show, not knocking anyone that had anything to do with it, but that isn't what I've come across. And so when I was asked this question, it really did make me wonder, when we're dealing with somebody who has passed on and they seem to be confused, or they seem to not know they're dead, could this be the reason behind it? And if it is it, I can't even talk, but is it something that we need to, if we think that might be the case, modify the way that we speak to them? Instead of asking questions like, when'd you die? which I've seen people do. Instead of asking, and I mean, I'm not against the question, but instead of asking people, do you know you're dead? In which I know people who do, and I'm not opposed to that question. But should we ask them, what do you see? See if what they're describing is the same location that you're in. Or let's go a little bit further. If what they're describing is the location you were in their time, how does it look to them? That might give you a timeline in which to work with. Places can carry the same name but have a different decor. They can have a completely different feel to them. The people that are walking through them can have completely different styles of clothing on, and that can all dictate decades or however long in a time frame as to where you might need to look, or what you might need to look into in regards to this spirit that you're speaking with. It also could explain why when certain spirits are trying to communicate with you, or if you have a home that looks one way to you, but the spirit activity seems to follow a completely different footprint, and it's not an imprint, it's not a oh goodness, what do you call it? A like a repeat. It's not an intelligent haunting. If they're doing that, if they're walking upstairs that aren't there, or walking across a floor that isn't there, then maybe and they are communicating, which means it's intelligent, which means they're trying to make a connection, or at least it's different. It's not like a recording that happens at the same time every night or every day. That there's change to it, there's alteration to it. It could indicate that what they're seeing is what was real in their life, and they are going about their day as they normally would, because for whatever reason, they have not regained the memory of their passing. Now, I'm just throwing this out there. I could totally be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying these are the things that we need to think about. These are the things that when we go into locations that some people claim them to be violent, some people claim them to be docile, some people claim they communicate with them, some people claim they don't feel anything. These are the things that we need to look at, and I think we need to act accordingly. I always try to put myself in the situation of the spirit. If it were me, how would I want to be handled, for lack of a better way of putting it? And I'm not going to say kid gloves is always the way to go, because it's not, but understanding and compassion won't steer you wrong regardless. Just throwing that out there. The other thing that I think is extremely important to remember, and this kind of goes along with amnesia in the afterlife, but not in the same way, is that we always, as living, breathing human beings, we always put a time on things. We put a time stamp on it, okay? This is our calendar, this is our clock, and by golly, everything better follow it. And we forget that is man-made. Calendar is man-made, been changed quite a few times, okay? Clock, man-made, changes twice a year, okay, forward or back, except for very few places. But all that's made by us. All that is followed by us. That does not mean that in the afterlife that we are held to the same confines. I'm telling you, people, when it comes to your loved ones that you don't feel like are communicating with you or talking to you, uh, or people that you feel like you should be able to interact with, and you're like, oh, it's been 2 years since they passed. Why have they not come to me? They don't know it's 2 years. It's irrelevant. What could seem like 2 years to us might be 5 minutes to them. It's just something to think about. We can't put the limitations of the living on the deceased. We just can't do it. We can't assume by what we've learned off TV shows that when you die, everything's great. Okay? Your memory's there, you know who everybody is. We can't assume that. That's my whole point of this. We can't assume anything. So when it comes to dealing with this or trying to figure it all out, you need to keep an open mind. You need to look at things from all angles. You need to put yourself in the position of the deceased. What would make you talk? What could help you understand your situation better? Are there any Twigger? For fuck's sake, I combine Twitter and trigger because I'm just that special. Okay, special flower. But are there any, trigger words that might set you off and make you not want to speak? Are there actions that might make it easier for you to find a level of comfort to where you could interact? And when you think of the deceased as possibly having amnesia in the sense of not remembering how they got to the state that they are, I think you'll understand a little bit better what is needed and what it takes to get the communication and the contact that you're looking for. I just wanted to throw that out there. I was really surprised when I got the question because I thought it was a great question. That is one of the biggest things that people always ask me is why can we not talk to them, especially with loved ones? Why? We're thinking of it as living, breathing human beings. Can't do that. Put yourself in that position and understand that it is not the same as it is in this reality. It's not the same as it is in this realm, from what I understand to be true. So when you start to do that and you start to kind of relax a little bit in it, you put out the energy that once they can finally communicate, once they finally figure out what's going on, that it's comfortable for them to come to you. Just throwing it out there. Take it for what you want. Ain't claiming I'm an expert because, for fuck's sake, there is no experts in this field. Just wanted to address it because I thought it was an awesome question and share what my viewpoint was on it. So, anyway, I love you guys. Bye.